from an entrepreneurship standpoint, you've been able to be mentored by like the most successful people in your industry, like billionaires and stuff like that, right? Like, what information have they given you that you've been able to implement in your franchise or your food chain industry?
I would say, and just not even entrepreneurs or mentors of mine in the industry, because all business applies in some way or form, So, like this morning, I had a conversation with Mike Novo, right? It was probably 9 a.m. and
I'll let that go over there. Mike Novo grads, the guy who's worth like $7 billion.
Yeah, I had a conversation with him this morning. We were on the phone for like 20 minutes, and I was just calling him. We were chopping it up and we were talking some business, and I get information from him, and then after that, I get a call from my homie Sidney Torres. He's owns a garbage company here, worth a few $100 million. And it was just crazy, like, because I'm thinking about it as we're talking right now, right? That damn, I was talking to these guys this morning. So I think one of the things I've learned from, them, whether it's Eugene or whether it's different people in the industry, A-Life in Houston, or just anybody in business, is like, you got to have, good habits. Most successful people, they wake up and they know where they're going, they know what they're doing. And that's one of the things about me. Like, every morning I wake up, I'm doing the same exact thing. So when I wake up and do it consistently, like, the results aren't coming from me just getting lucky. It's coming from the consistency in my day. So that's one of the things I think has truly helped, me figure things out. And also just surrounding myself with a lot of mentors. Shout out to, like I was saying, Mike, Sidney, Eugene with Catch Hospitality. Prior to meeting Eugene, Catch has always been one of my favorite restaurants ever since I tried it in 2017. And I was in Catch in 2017 in LA, and I said I wanted Morrow's, just before Morrow's opened up. I was renovating Morrow's, and I said I want Morrow's to be the Catch of the South. And, it's the law of attraction, it's manifestation. A few years later, I connect with Mike and David Berry, and they saw how serious I was about this industry. And even Mel, Mel connected me with everybody, and they saw how serious I was, and then they said, you know what? We're going to introduce you to Eugene. So Mike set up dinner at his house. I go to New York, and it surprised me with dinner with Eugene. My damn, it was dope, because as a person who, I thought the restaurant was like the coolest restaurant ever, I surrounded myself with, I was blessed to just connect with different people and network with them to where I put myself in a position to where I can get mentorship from these guys. So, it's being consistent and networking, man, has really just catapulted everything.
Power of proximity, man. Clap it up for that. Man, when we met you, it was interesting. Your name already had preceded you. I never saw you. I just knew your name. I think the first time we talked on the phone, it was actually about trading options. It was like midnight, and I was trying to explain to you, like, yeah, bro, I still don't really get it, though. I was like, all right, man, let's get on the But and then when we came down and saw what you meant to the city, it clicked. In the book, we talk about legacy. We went to Morrow's, and we had, the hospitality was incredible. And you're like, yeah, that's my mom. I said, wait, hold on. There's a deeper story here. Talk about, because this is something that we do. We always talk about, people say you shouldn't work with your family. And that's kind of how we built our business. I see that you've done the same. Talk about building legacy and doing it with the people you actually love and care about.
Oh, man. Well, I can tell you this, it's not easy. I'm sure it wasn't easy for y'all. And it's things that you got to work through. But it's things that you could never give up on. Me and my mom, just doing that venture with my mom, Morrow's, it was a challenge, but it was so rewarding at the same time. We would kind of have a lot of issues in the beginning, because it's like you're walking a new journey with your mother, like a path that you haven't been on with her. So y'all gotta respect each other's space, respect each other. I'm not just your son, I'm your partner, and that was the conflict, because Lil Larry that at home is different when I'm handling business, and I can be a lot different, because I mean business. And so it was tough, but we got through the process of just like learning how to work with each other in the same space. and her being such a dominant woman and me being a dominant male, and her wanting her way and me wanting my way, it taught me a lot of patience for sure. But we got through that, and then as we started to like, my mom, she was like, I'm like, yo, look, we can open more restaurants. And she's like, how? It's already hard managing one. And so at that time, I heard about a guy named Tillman Fertitta. How many of y'all familiar with Tillman? So Tillman is like one of the largest restaurateurs in the country. 600 plus restaurants, owns Post Oak in Houston, Bubblegum, the Rockets, what's the casino in Lake Charles?
Golden Nugget.
The Golden Nugget. He owned a bunch of stuff. And so I read this book by him. It's called Shut Up and Listen. And it just talked about the restaurant industry, and I saw how he was able to do it. So I'm like, if somebody's able to do it, that means it's possible. So I'm explaining that to my mom, and she's like, well, I don't know. So, I just had the vision, and I would do a lot of research, and I decided to scale up. And, I would just, let her know, and like how this can be done. And, we went from that to this. But just because we had the vision, but the process of us working together and just understanding our roles as, partners really helped us be better to each other, because sometimes you may try to, do something that's like for her to do, and you'll try to do it and not like communicate properly, which sometimes it just causes conflict, which I'm sure y'all understand. And so you just learn how to just work with people, and if you can make it through that, with your mother, then, think about the reward that comes from just being able to empower your family. Because now, like, I got this video where I walked into my grandma. she worked in this beauty store about 8 years ago. In 2016, I found this video on my Instagram. I walked into her store and I said, Grandma, in 2 years you can quit your job. And so she repeated it in the camera. He said, my grandson said in 2 years I can quit my job. And so I saw that video recently, the other day, and I started crying because I'm like, damn, like, look at the law of attraction. Like, I've been able to empower my family. My grandmother quit her job. She ain't never got to work again. But that was all just through, being intentional, legacy, want to do stuff with my family. Because I could have went another route and just called it quits, but I didn't, because I just was in love with the fact that I can do this for my family.
So I want to know your inner game of wealth. How do you look at wealth? Because I asked a question earlier, is anybody in here rich? Right? And they define it different ways, right? But I want to specifically talk about financially. How do you approach finances, or how do you look at wealth building personally?
Man, it's crazy because my perspective is totally different. 10 years ago, I thought I was a rapper, so I went through that rapper phase, which I think we all culturally have been through a phase of where we went.
It's the things that we bought.
Yeah, man, I had a bust down Rolex, thought I was on top of the world.
Hold on, do you remember any of the raps still?
I didn't rap.
Larry Morrow, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear one.
I didn't rap, I was just in that that mindset, and I think a lot of us culturally get stuck in it, right? Because of what we see. And so I told you I had a bust down Rolex, thought I was on top of the world. I sold that Rolex back in like 2016 maybe, and I bought my first piece of investment property. And, I was just, trying to figure out life, trying to figure out who am I? What do I want to do? And, that vision isn't clear until you really identify who you are and what it is you want to do. So if you got a target you're aiming at, it's easy. If you got a target, it's easy to aim at it. But if you don't have a target, then it's like you just shooting in the air. So I think once I put my eyes on that target, it made a lot more sense. But, as far as like wealth, I thought having wealth was looking like wealth, like you were saying earlier. And truthfully, when you get a different perspective, like I've been in the inner circles of the culture and, the industry, you know what I mean? And where you're sitting at a table with 20 people and the bill come out and there's only 3 people paying the tab, right? And I'm one of those 3 people. But everybody look like they balling. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, like, this ain't what it is.
That's a feeling.
Like, no, seriously, or we go get on a boat and they got 20 people on the boat, but there's only 4 people paying it. I'm like, why everybody look like got Jews, got, at this point, red bottoms and ball main denim, but that's not who I wanted to be. I didn't want to look like money, but then you start to see the other side of things of having friends who are wealthy, friends who wear the same stuff every day. You know, like City Torres, you go in his closet, everything black with Chelsea boots. I'm like, damn, your life is simple. I wish I wish it was this easy for me to get dressed. Or you might, you know, get on a plane and go to wherever with a friend, and you see how they don't have all of the things that look like money, but they have, I mean, that make them look wealthy, but they actually are wealthy, right? They can get on their plane and fly across the country. So having both of those perspectives really changed my perspective and said, you know what? I don't think I want this, I want that. And I don't want to look like it. I want to be able to actually create generational wealth for my family and not just wear it. So, like, you see me now, like, you know, I got watches, but I don't wear them, you know? I mean, because at one point I felt like I needed it. Like, I'm that bust-down Rolex, you feel me? Well, I'm not bust-down, but you feel me? Like, I'm that no diamonds, still holding the value, you feel me? So I started to look at myself as the prize versus wearing that watch and thinking that watch was the prize. You feel me?